You're listening to the Jungle Me podcast. Jungle Me, it's exclusive online courses, events, and a podcast. It's all designed to help a generation of ambitious achieve their life goals. We are told to live our dreams, but never explain how to reach them. We had to figure it out ourselves, and we did. We are lifepreneurs. Jungle Me now teaches you the rules of the game, so you can take smart cuts and not the hard way. Capitalism, real estate, business, healthy living, people skills, and entertainment. We interview exceptional individuals like today, leaders and experts in their fields. They share with us their life experiences, learning, successes, and failures. Our goal is to help you achieve greater heights and help you out of hardships. Take our courses, engage, and see your life change. But for now, enjoy the interview. In this interview done for Jungle Me and StartupsInnovation.com, I am bringing you a new and exclusive discussion with yet another lion. The artist manager that helped Flavour's success. For those who don't know Flavour, he is amongst the top 3 most successful and famous Nigerian African artists right now. An artist with an immense talent. He released his 5th album. He counts millions of fans in Africa and around the world. In this interview, Benjamin shared with us stories and his perspective on this amazing journey, from how it all started to today, the defining moments, and sometimes challenges to overcome. We talk technology, its impact on the entire music industry, education, fashion, business artist collaboration opportunities, and the rise of Africa as the next China. Please get inspired by this entertainment genius, smart man, hard worker, continuous learner, Mr. Benjamin Omesiete. Before we start, what is your role at Tonight Entertainment? And can you give us some ideas about, what do you do on a day-to-day to help Flavour and help all this stuff and make it happen?
Well, pretty much my name is Benjamin Omesiete. I'm the artist manager in R and also the booking. I also handle the booking for Tonight Entertainment that has Flavour as the main artist, of our label. What I pretty much do is from the ground up, from the recording stage, where we try to make the music, the type of music, the genre of music, and how to distribute the music, how to put the music out. Because I always believe every song should have a different approach, because most of the time every song tells a different story. So you need to be able to understand how to tell those different stories with your visual production, publicity, and who to meet, how to go about it, your target audience. So where I come in is helping to identify those strategic ideas and how to implement them. The artist, which is the most important person in the circle, he creates the work, and we pretty much strategize and push, if you may, the best possible way, and also help the 360, because not just putting the music out there. Once the music goes out, it needs to come back in the form of appreciation, finance. People pay for it. People have to love it enough to want to buy it. People have to love it enough to want to go out and see the musician perform it live. People have to love it enough to use it as their ringback tune. So you need to push it enough for people to love it, and then it has to really come back to you financially. That's when the whole circle is complete. That's when we do. That means we have done our job.
Superb. That doesn't seem like an easy task, and obviously people love the music. Can you give us a bit of stats, around, social media views, maybe the number of concerts you guys did, how many albums, how many songs, give us a bit of data so we can get a bit of a sense of, the magnitude of this project.
Well, we just dropped our fifth album. We dropped our fifth album 3 months ago, and it's doing very, very well right now. One of our singles has been trending in Nigeria for like 4 days now. We've toured around the world, been to in Africa. We've been all over Africa. Just pretty much four countries we haven't been to so far. We tour US and Asia. We sold millions of, because of our data, our lapses, to data wise in Africa and this part of the world, Nigeria, where we're from, and piracy. It's pretty much difficult to give the exact numbers, but having said that, because we are the largest in Africa, we are like China in Africa. We have the numbers. So if you're doing well in Nigeria, you pretty much would do well all across Africa, because our music is heavy. Everybody listens to Nigerian music all around Africa and in the world. So when it comes to numbers, CD sales, record sales, tour, and whatnot, I think in Africa we can gladly say, humbly say rather, that we are top three. They can mention three musicians, grossing musicians, making money off publicity and whatnot, and you don't mention the flavor of Africa. You don't mention the artist that I work with now. So it was a very, very challenging journey. It wasn't a walk in the park. When we started,
Yeah.
we the,
So,
the,
so
the
So talking about this, Benjamin, so the journey to success, that's sort
Mhm.
of the next question. Can you tell us a bit, how it started? How do you guys meet up? How it happened, and maybe the challenges you faced, along the way, and what were the steps and sort of steps that made it successful according to you in your own eyes.
Okay. I met the artist Flavour 8 years ago. We met in the studio. I was working in the studio as a sound engineer and also an aspiring artist myself. So when we met in the studio, I'm from Lagos, and Lagos is the New York in Nigeria. It's the center of everything, center of commerce. So if you want to make it big in the entertainment industry, you have to come to Lagos. And I'm born, brought up, raised in Lagos. So Flavor, the artist, came to Lagos, in search of greener pastures. He was already doing some little stuff back where he was coming from, which was in the eastern part of Nigeria, Enugu State. And when we met in Lagos, I was more of his go-to guy. I helped him, as a friend, while he was doing his little thing that he was doing. But we kind of had some kind of chemistry. When you're working with somebody and the person is honest and the person is as passionate as you are about what you're doing. So we kind of clicked, and I started helping out as a friend before it became, official. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy because his style of music then was not popular. It was not the in thing, it was not the vibe of the moment. So it was difficult for us to introduce that kind of sound to people and for people to appreciate it.
So,
Um,
so
uh,
when we
yeah,
when we met in Boston, I remember you telling me, it was traditional music that you
yes,
mixed with the more modern music, right?
yes, yes. Now, the kind of music he does is basically from his local, is highly influenced by the local dialect, which is Igbo. and coming to the city, it's not people. If you speak that language, or you create anything with that language, you're just going to be pushed aside as you don't know what you're doing. Like, this is village stuff. This is not cool stuff. So we try to sell the village stuff, but we sold it to people in a modern way, the way people could easily associate with it, the way people could understand it. We told a story. We told a story, and we told it in the way that the millennials. We told it in a way that the cool people could accept it and love it. So it was more of how do we, because we can't take this to radio won't play it. You can't take it to TV won't play it. So we pretty much made a stand, and we believed in it so much. It wasn't easy. We got rejected a couple of times. You go to places, and you feel like you don't know what you're doing, but we actually stood our ground. We What I think was the defining moment for us was we tried to use how would I put it? We tried to use the cool people to portray this village music. What do I mean? Like, we're shooting in a remote village, and we use a very good camera. We don't use the village cameras. We use the very good cameras. We use very good professional video directors. We try to make local music, but we make the local music in the international standard. We try to shoot a video. We use it's the local sound, it's the local content, but it is projected on the international platform. So you've seen this, but you can relate with it. It's not old. It is old, but it is in itself is also new. So the strategy we used then was, yes, this is cultural, but the cultural is who we are. This is we Because if you travel, you're not where you are. You're who you are. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So this sound is from inside of you, but you can really relate with it. So that was a defining moment. Most people that tried it, they didn't strategize properly. So I feel
Yep.
from then going forward, we got rejected, like I said, a couple of times. We didn't have enough money to push to actualize this dream. So it was more of a step by step approach. Today, this is what we want to accomplish. We know we had a bigger plan, but let's start today and accomplish this today. Tomorrow we accomplish that tomorrow. Next tomorrow we accomplish that tomorrow. And those baby steps turned out to be, the defining steps in our career, because if we didn't make those baby steps, if we didn't make those moves, the first move was by, we had a vision, we had a dream to actually do music and make it international. So one of our videos, we wanted to shoot it in South Africa, and the funds that were needed to do that was just crazy. But what we did was, we started selling our stuffs on face to face. We go to the stores. This is my product. This is what I'm selling. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. Raised money, and boom, we got enough to shoot this video. So it wasn't
What
it
video
wasn't
was
walk in the park. It's called Unwa Baby.
that? Okay,
Unwa Baby.
I'll
Yeah.
check it out.
Yes, it
So,
was shot in South Africa.
so in terms of highlights, touring internationally. So you've been recently, I think, to Wembley, London, right? You've
Yeah.
been other, have you been? What places, I mean, in the world have you been currently? Australia, Asia
Yeah.
yet, Europe, US, I know
We've been
that.
to we've been to Australia 4 years ago. We did a tour of 4 cities: Melbourne, Sydney, and I think there are two other cities. We've been to Canada. We did a tour 3 years ago in Canada for 6 cities: Toronto, Montreal, and we're going back to Canada. and US. We've done a couple of shows in US. We've done in the Houston Toyota Center. We've performed at the Barclays in New York for the One Music Africa Festival. In Africa, pretty much everywhere in Africa. In Europe, we did a tour 2 years ago. We did 9 cities in Europe.
Excellent.
But yeah. But for me, I think the best shows, the best concerts are the ones that we did back in Africa. Mostly countries, French-speaking Africa, countries that they don't even understand what you're saying, but they're really touched by your music. You see people come out in their thousands to listen to you and what you perform and pay to what you perform. So, and knowing
That's
in Africa where they don't really have much, they still pay for tickets to come see you. So I really, really feel touched when I see, number of people coming out and paying to watch us perform. Yeah.
That's excellent. And then talking about Africa, and you've toured in every country in Africa. That's very interesting. So do you see Africa on the rise? Is Africa rising in your eyes right now? Is it modernizing? What do you see as the biggest signs of hope economically, and maybe also some of the challenges you think that still needs to be overcome?
Yes, Africa is only going to get better. That's why that's how I put it, because there's so many opportunities. There's so many opportunities. We have the natural resources. We have what it takes to be where the world is right now. Musically, I think we are very original, and I'll take a case study of French Montana video that he shot in Uganda. He did a music, and the one with the Swali, and I think that's his best work so far, with the ratings that he got and the views that the video got. Why? Because he just projected Africa in a happy way. Most times when people think of Africa, they think of poverty, terrorism, war, and hunger and whatnot. Yes, this is part of the problems in Africa. Like every other region has their problems, but if we're so rich in nature, we're so rich in so many things that investors that come in, they see and they don't want to go back, because there's so much in Africa. Africa is on the rise. We have good musicians from Africa that are doing well abroad. But my worry is, and the challenge that I have is, most times they conform rather to the pressure of 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 what is in vogue. You see an African musician that is supposed to be a representative of Africa and African sound. When he's being projected outside, when he wants to make music and project it to the world, he tries too much to sound westernized. He changes his sound, he changes his style so that he can fit in real quick. But no, that's not what it's all about. You're supposed to represent Africa. You're supposed to show them what they don't have. You're supposed to exhibit what they would love to see and learn about. It might not be popular. It might not be, everybody might not jump into it. Yeah, but trust me, you are being original, and originality is unique. If you are unique in your own, that is just, you cannot go wrong when you are unique. You're just the best at what you do when you are unique. Nobody can challenge you. So for Africa, we have that originality. We have what it takes, to break into the world stage. But because of how we are constrained economically, the system, we don't have, like in America, the entertainment business has a structure. They have laws, they have lawyers, they have companies that look into how the entertainment business works, how to collect people's royalties and whatnot. We just started collecting royalties for musicians 3 years ago in Nigeria. So that tells you how far back we are. But with time, I believe, and we're going very fast. We're learning very fast. We're trying to structure our industry, and I believe with time we'll get there.
Awesome. And I do see, from a technical standpoint, a lot of innovation coming from Africa. And Do you think, I personally think Africa, is the next China, the next big thing, and as you said,
Yes.
a lot of investors right now are, pouring money into the continent, which is amazing.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
one question to you, when you think about, Africans around the world, so, African American or Africans in France or elsewhere in the world, what can they do from where they are to help Africa, in your opinion, if
Africans
anything?
all around, yeah, Africans all around the world in the diaspora that have made, something out of nothing, that have and that are enlightened, more educated, in how the world works and where the world is. You just need to come back home at some point and, invest that time, invest that money, invest that knowledge back home, because we need it. We need people like that. You can imagine the youngest president in Africa. The average age for a president in Africa is between 75 years. These people are from the colonial stage. Their thinking is different. We need young people, we need vibrant minds, we need innovation in Africa. So who better else to channel this knowledge? Who better else to anchor us, the Africans, than people who are more enlightened and more educated? I'm not saying we don't have educated people here in Africa, but these people know how the world works better, because they are Africans, but they are not in Africa. So they know how the world operates. They know where the world is, technology wise, health wise, entertainment wise, business wise, every aspect. So they need to come back, invest, train, help. I always like to use the word help, because it's not just about what you're going to gain immediately. You need to look at how to give back. So if they can come back, if they can reinvest in Africa, if they can teach, enlighten, sensitize the young Africans, and it gives us hope that yes, these are people that really care about how we're going. The government in Africa is not just corrupt. The system itself is not helping, because they just make laws to enrich themselves, and not the people. The real Africans are not really enjoying the benefits of the growth of Africa now. So we need young people to come and channel and challenge this system, and create more jobs, create more ideas for people. The conventional way of doing things in Africa is archaic, is old. Our educational system is old, is backdated. Our laws are backdated, they are old. We need young people from all around the world that have Africa at heart, not just Africans, young people, young-minded people that have African hearts. They need to come and, show us, teach us, and enlighten us how to go about these things.
I'm sure that's going to be a very inspiring call to action there. And what would you say to unprivileged youth, in inner cities, in Western countries, or in Africa, to help them achieve greater success? Some people that don't necessarily come, who are not born with a silver spoon in their mouth, if you will. What would be your advice, for them to make it in this world?
Um, like myself, for example, I wasn't born with a silver spoon. Um, I believe that everybody is a master of his own fate. If you are, if you are alive, you have, you are your own limitation. You know, you need to take first. You need to take off the mentality that somebody owes you, like your parents owe you, like the government owes you, like the system owes you. You need to take away that mentality first. That is
I
going to
love
be your breaking point. That's going to be your first breaking point. You have to understand that you as a person, you owe yourself. Nobody, you don't owe anybody. Nobody owes you anything. You owe yourself. That you need to understand that you are the master of your fate first, and achieve whatever it is that you set your mind to achieve. There's always going to be limitations. There's always going to be issues. There's always going to be lack. But once there is determination, once you are determined to do something, it's only you that can stop yourself. You see, back then when we were starting up, we didn't know how far we were gonna go, but we were determined. Every day we wake up with that mentality of trying to make it. What do we do? How do we do? What do I do to better myself every day? And you see that those baby steps that you take, it is going to change you. It is going to transform you to the richest man in the world. If you ask him when he was a baby, if you listen to how Bill Gates and how all those people started, they didn't see themselves becoming a billionaire. They just wanted to be better for themselves. They didn't want to fail. They wanted to be better. So, what are the advice I will have that I will give to every not too privileged young person is believe in yourself. Don't expect handouts from people. If they give, fine, but always believe in yourself, believe in your ability. Make sure you yourself, you are your $1 billion, you are your $1 million, you are what you need to sell. So if you need to enlighten yourself, if you need to go to school, if you need to train yourself, whatever it is that you need to do, invest in yourself, and always believe that you can achieve whatever it is that you set your mind to do. Even if you fail 10 times or 1,000 times, keep on pushing, keep on forging ahead. That's all I did. i
I
never
love that.
i never stopped.
I love that. I love that. And talking about, education, continuous education. So we met in Berkeley, in Boston, right? There was
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think you flew from Nigeria to Boston for
yes,
uh, some workshop on the music of business with some leading professors such as Kendall
yeah,
Minter, who's the lawyer
yes,
of OME, Ashanti, many others, George
yeah.
Howard, prominent professor also at Berkeley. So
Mhm.
how important for you is education for one's success? You'd say, you know, how important is it?
Education, yeah,
And
I can't emphasize, I can't
and maybe how,
overemphasize the
yeah.
importance. Sorry, what did you say?
I wanted just to add a little, little question. So, how important is education to one's success, and what would you recommend people to do to, educate themselves? Even if they don't necessarily have, the funds to do it, to go to big schools, and how important is it, and how would you recommend someone to go about it?
Yeah, I always tell people that care to listen that, I cannot overemphasize the importance of education in whatever it is that you're doing. The world is evolving, and the music business is an ever evolving business. It's not there's no standard formula. So you always need to update, you always need to learn every day in the music business, and you need to invest in learning, because that is what makes you better than the next person. Once in studying doesn't necessarily have to be under the roof of a school or under the tutelage of a professor. No, you can study by yourself. You can take it upon yourself. We live in a jet age where everything is at your fingertips. You can Google how to do this, how to do that. How do I get better at what I do? If you don't study, you don't even know how you are blind if you don't study. And if you're doing something, whatever it is that you're doing, be it in music, be it in every aspect, you need to update and upgrade at every certain time. You need to upgrade. I was already doing the work of an artist manager. I was already going for shows. I was already going for tours here and there. It wasn't like I was brain dead or I was stuck where I was. But I felt the need to always update, to always upgrade. I flew in myself, I paid for my ticket, I paid for my school fees. I left my country, Nigeria, all the way to the United States to learn and to study and to interact with people like, people like, people with like-minded people with the same passion. And I know the impact it gave me, not just educational wise. It also opened my eyes to a lot of things. If you don't study, you don't upgrade. You're just stagnant, and nobody wants to be in a stagnant place. You don't want to sit in a stagnant bus. You always want a moving bus. For you to move, you need to study. Study gives you the propeller, gives you the engine, it gives you the speed, the power to move. the power to upgrade, the power to update. If you're working and you don't update, then you're stuck. You're dead. That's like
Yeah.
dying. So study in whatever it is that you're doing, studies and constant need to educate yourself is very, very, very vital. As a musician, you learn, you study, you see how other people do what they do, people that were there before you, people that have the same passion as you, what they did. If you are an artist manager, you need to study, you need to learn from people that have been doing it, you need to learn the new ways of doing it, you need to even when you see the old ways and you see the new ways, you can even innovate. If you don't study, you can't innovate because you don't even know how it works. For you to create your own, you need to understand how it works first before you create something that would work for you. So study is key.
I can't agree more than this. And what are your goals for the future? What are some of the things you'd like to achieve in your lifetime, professionally or career-wise? Because you guys have reached already like, a summum, right? A top level right now. But what else, or where do you want to take it further? What are the next challenges that you are setting for yourself?
Well, right now, like you said, with the artists that I work with already, we've pretty much, done we've pretty much set standards so high, and we've met those standards by working hard and by the grace of God. But that's on that level. For me, I always wanted to be a source of, I always wanted to help people achieve their dreams, in the music business, in the music industry, because as somebody that is passionate about music as myself, I feel the need to, we have talent, we have loads of talent in Nigeria, in Africa, we have loads of talent that needs, just the right strategy, just the right funding, just the right push, to get them to achieve their dreams and, become not just what they want to be for themselves, but for their families, financially helping other people as well, creating jobs for the system, for the government. If I can impact as much as I can to these talents and help them achieve their dreams, in the best way that I can, then I feel that I have achieved something in this life. So my future aim is to create, that capacity, to create that environment, that environment where talented people with passion for music can come and learn and pick one or two things that will help them become better at what they do. So that's where I see myself heading towards. That's where I see myself going
That,
to and doing in the nearest future.
that's awesome. I'm gonna hold on some question I have on this one because I have a few questions later on that's gonna talk about this topic.
Okay.
Let's move into fashion. So we're friends on Facebook, and I've noticed I'm French. You know that. I live in the
Yes,
US.
yes.
From France, and in France we have brands like Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Hermes. We have
Mhm,
some of biggest fashion designers in the world and so on. But I did
mhm.
notice that there's a huge fashion sense in Nigeria, and it's really different from what you would see in France or in the US. It's really cool, I would say. What are the brands you wear over there, and are there specific Nigerian fashion designers? Can you give us a sense of the fashion over there?
Right now in Nigeria, the fashion industry, the fashion business in Nigeria is growing, and it's growing rapidly. Now most people wear or would rather wear bespoke attires that is made locally and fitted, sewn to fit kind of clothes, fabric wise made in Nigeria, fabric wise tailors and fashion sense that is representing your background, your heritage. People now feel it's cool to wear those kind of clothes, those kind of brands that would, when you see them wear it, you can always identify where they're from. Usually before now, people wear, like you said, those expensive brands, the Chanel's, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and whatnot, which is cool, which is still cool. But there's this growing love, growing wave in Africa now, where traditional, fitted, bespoke wares are now trendy. Like for me, if I have to go for a wedding, or I have to go for some kind of meetings or some kind of functions, I always enjoy wearing, and if, funny enough, the people that do these things are people, so it's more like you're also encouraging them, people that sew these things, people that that make these African wares, their friends, their colleagues. So instead of putting money into a Chanel or a Louis Vuitton or a Gucci where you don't know the owner, or you don't know who made it or how it was made, you rather pay lesser and you put it into the pockets of your friend that is making these African wares, and which is also cool. So right now there's this growing vibe, this growing trend of wearing homemade stuff.
And I must say, I love the clothes. And are they available online? Could someone order?
Yeah. They are. There's so many of them. There's so many of them, actually. Now they've taken it. Instead of, like I said, when I was talking about making local content and branding it international, that's where we are now, even in the fashion world, where usually before, where you wear these things, people look at you as a villageois, look at you as a village man, or look at you as an old person. You're not cool. You're not cool when you wear these things. Now the people that make these things now make it in a way where even the younger people now want to wear it because they feel, oh, it's cool now to wear it. So how did they get to that stage? They try to innovate. They try to add one or two things. The fabric now, it looks, for somebody like you to admire it, the way you are admiring it, it means they are doing a good job, in the way they projected it. If they projected it in a way that is not, attractive, you would not even like it, So they now put it online. They sell their stuff. Usually for you to get this stuff, you really have to go the extra mile to like the remote areas to get these things, But now they put it and they try to sell it, even deliver it to you. You don't have to come to take your measurement. All these things are online, just the same way you buy and shop online for Zara. It's the same way now you can shop and buy local fashion brands, in Nigeria, from shoes to clothes. Yeah.
So maybe at the end of the interview, send me a few links so we can put it
on
the post and see what we're talking about. But indeed, I do personally think it's innovation in the design or fashion industry. It is definitely innovation. It's custom. It changes from the usual boring standard clothes, I would say. Colorful, sleek, fitted, looks really good. I'm French, so I kind of have also a bit of a fashion sense. So I can tell you it's really good stuff. So then you work hard. Obviously, it's not an easy job, managing an artist like Flavour. So do you exercise? How do you cope, with your stressful life, and do you have any fitness routines? Do you eat specifically in a certain manner? Eat well, be well. How do you keep your body and your mind sane and fit? And what would you recommend also other people to kind of do to stay strong, if you will?
Well, I wish I could lie to you and tell you I I do this or I do that, or I do this or I do that. But as much as I want to say that, I feel, when you're passionate about something, the strength comes, to do it. You just find yourself doing it, not sleeping at night, taking flights, different time zones. You're here today, tomorrow you're there, next tomorrow you're here. As much as I want to try to exercise or eat in a particular way, sometimes you're not privileged to even have that decision in your hands. Probably you find yourself in a country where you can't even get what you would want to eat, but you have to eat anyways. So you end up eating what you can get. So it's more of when you have your spare time, try to relax. You
Yeah.
know, try to relax. When you're not working, be relaxing. Not when you're not working, you're also partying, which is extra exercise too. So what we tend to do is when you're not on, you shut down. You know,
Yeah.
like you take your break. You need to relax and revive. Allow your body to revive itself. You know, so
Uh, And in terms of
that's my advice.
exercise, in terms of
Yeah,
exercise, I've seen you dance, on the scene with Flavour and all the band there. So I'm pretty sure you get your share of exercise when you're on tour.
exactly. Exactly. When you're on tour, you do all that. Of CDs, you need to figure out how to advertise there, spread it there, move it. You are moving with your music. Now the music moves way faster. So we're enjoying it. And at the same time, we're also trying to understand it because it's faster than us. It's like you having a child and the child is growing in front of you and you don't know what to do. You're just trying to catch up. You know, so we are trying to catch up here in Africa, in Nigeria. We're trying to catch up with the technology. You
But I
know, so
think this actually everyone around the world is trying to catch up, I think, with technology. I
exactly,
think in the
exactly.
US also, and the music industry is still reinventing itself, as you know. And
Hmm.
what do you think about artists like Rihanna, that uses her fame to support education, or Akon? I don't know if you've heard about the project,
Hmm.
lighting
Hmm. Hmm.
or Beats
Hmm.
by Dre's success story. There's definitely a trend we're seeing there where artists, with the following, their influencer status, are able to make things move pretty drastically in the positive way, most often,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
creates either amazing technological companies like Beats by Dre, which was acquired by Apple
Hmm.
for I think $3 billion, or you have Rihanna just recently who tweeted at Emmanuel Macron, the French president, and is getting a meeting with him. Actually, I think it's next week. To talk about education in Africa. And Akon, I think his project Lighting Africa is also doing pretty well and bringing electricity in remote areas of Africa. So is what do you see this as a trend also? Is that something that the Flavour team is open to working on such partnership? Are you guys already having such ventures ongoing? Is that the new way we finance the music business? I'm trying to get a sense there, to figure out if that's really how today, if we're going to see more and more artists partner with startups, with communities, with people, and really have win-win relationships where everyone win, kind of. What's your take on this?
Well, you mean like artists leveraging on their social media platforms and making something out of it,
Yes.
charity and other things. Yeah, of course,
Charity,
of
even
course.
business. Charity or even business.
Yeah, of course, of course. We recently I brokered. I've done two internet based advert jobs for Flavor for just on social media. They just pay for his followers for him to advertise their brand on social media for 6 months, and they paid. And so that is a new way of also making money. Just on your social media, you're getting money off just taking a picture or just posting something, and boom, they credit your alert, they credit your bank, and that's also leveraging on that, and also using your platform, via social media to like what Tyrese did. And you mentioned a couple of other people that have used their advantage as the platform to do a lot of things. We here, as for Flavor, when it comes to charity, we've done we've done quite a few, but quite a few based on our social media, push. Because like I said, in Africa, as the Africa, when it comes to technology, you don't get the people that are really, really, really keen and are following you and are up. They are the millennials. Those ones don't really count as much as the core crowd. And those ones, for you to reach out to them, you need to step out of the social media and actually reach out to them. So when you want to do anything that has to charity, you need to actually come out of the social media stage and actually go do all those things. But when it comes to business, you know, people look at your followers now on in Africa, in Nigeria, they look at your followers, they look at your fan base on YouTube, your views and all that, and they leverage on that to broker deals with you. You can get endorsed for a brand. One of the biggest telecom in Nigeria is has Flavour as their brand ambassador because of his reach and his fan base, via social media and whatnot. And business wise, it's good. It's a new market for us. But when it comes to using that and actually impacting to other people for charity, the people, you can just, like what some people do, they give scholarships, they ask questions. When they ask questions via their social media, people that answer, they give them gifts and freebies. That's the highest I think I've seen anybody do on social media here in this part of the world. But when it comes to using social media for charity,
Yep.
even when they do it, it doesn't really have that much effect, because the people that you're giving it to, they are not really the people that need it. The people that actually need it probably don't have a phone. They probably don't have internet. So do you understand what I mean? So
Yep. So, so,
yeah,
so
so
I do believe artists have a lot of power, and can move societies ahead, with what they do, and help
mhm,
build businesses, and help create employment. Even because what people
mhm,
need to understand, when an artist helps a startup or business, it helps create employment, gives people jobs, makes the economy function. So it's a good thing, and especially given the fact, what we were talking about in the technological times, where CDs, at least in Western countries, people don't buy CDs anymore. So that's a real new way. Yeah, I think that is interesting for artists that can pick and choose, what projects they want to work on. If it's not for profit, is it for profit? Is it for both?
mhm, mhm,
And there's amazing things we can do there. I think, with the help of our artists, when entrepreneurs and artists will start, working together on, I don't know, let's say, bringing healthcare, to the next level, to help people, to help cure diseases or whatever,
mhm,
will have bigger reach, bigger, bigger power, and all this stuff, and engage the right people. So I do like what you're saying there, and I think it's a very interesting trend, and I'm always amazed what can happen when you have an artist that mingles or mixes up with a business and what they can achieve.
mhm,
And I think the
mhm.
Beats by Dre is the perfect example.
Yeah.
So so let's close this interview with few final questions, about how one thrive and rise and survives in the life jungle. So I have a quote that Sean Diddy Combs, Puff Daddy, right, or Diddy.
Mhm,
He explained in one of his speech he did at Howard University that his uncle told him a phrase that changed his life. So I want your take on it. He said when his uncle told him this, it literally changed the way he saw life and helped him become the man he is today, serial entrepreneur, global artist, and so on. So he said, close your eyes and dream, but open your eyes to see. And this phrase really impacted deeply Diddy. And he went into life and became who he is, partly because of this phrase. What do you understand by this phrase, and what would be your take on it? Close your eyes and dream, but open your eyes to see.
Well, it's very deep, and even thinking about it is, it's deep. For me, when you tell somebody to close your eyes and dream and open your eyes to see, in the layman terms, you're pretty much telling the person, think big. You can be anything you want to be, because when you dream, in the sense of dreaming, you're telling the person there are no limitations in life, but open your eyes to see means you have to do the work. You have to actually see, you have to actually open your eyes and see how to make that dream a reality. So
Yep.
it's too big. It's two very big worlds. The first one is the dreaming phase. Some people have limited mind because of where they are, their status, their background. Like I said before, you always have to believe in yourself, not think of any who on how where you are, who is going to give you handouts. No, in yourself. That's the dreaming stage. You always have to think the best of yourself and that you can do it. That's the dreaming stage. Not everybody can dream. Some people have limited mind. So if you dream big, then the other stage, which is the work, like I said before, every
Yep.
day you need to leave your house. Every day you need to. There were times when I just leave the house and I go to the studio and I don't have any business being in the studio. But because I was not even getting paid working there. I was like, it was an in-house studio engineer. There was somebody that works there. I go there like a studio rat. I go there. If you need my service, I'm here. I don't wait at home when they need my service. I'm right there. So you need to always open your eyes. Open your eyes, meaning you need to always put in that work. You need to always first identify the dream, then pursue it with everything that you have. That's how I see it.
I love it. I love it. So when times get tough, because they do, right? Life isn't
Mm-hmm.
perfect, right? And especially when you try to achieve big dreams, and even if you put a lot of work, sometimes things don't work out the way they should. What would you
Mm-hmm.
tell someone that is in a tough spot to help him overcome his challenges and the rough time?
There's something
Tough
about.
question.
Yeah, because even myself, I'm in a tough time myself right now. So there, it's first things first. You need to understand that life is good and bad. Life is not just good, and life is not just
Yep.
bad. Life is good and bad. But every bad thing or every situation, every circumstance that has ever come to me was a blessing in disguise, because after I overcame it, after I strive and work my way out of it, I never went back to that situation, because not just that I overcame it mentally, I know what I did to get myself out, and I know how I got myself in the first place. So I'm bigger than that. So that is a step for me. I can't go lower than that situation anymore. I can't find myself. So when I go through things, I know this is part of a learning stage for me, and I don't allow it break me down. Bad things are like elevators. You go in, you're stuck in, but you press the button. Either it takes you down or it takes you up.
I like that.
It doesn't, yeah. So you have to press the button when you're in a situation. Do you let it break you down? You're already there. You can't do anything about it. But you can also go up if you push harder. If you press that button, you go up. So if you're in a tight situation, if you're in a rough place, you're in a bad spot, look at it as an elevator and figure out, how do I get myself out of it? And trust me, when you go up, in all honesty, the tendency of you going back down is zero. Is very low, because you have learned, how did I get myself here in the first place, and how did I get out of this place in So everything in the because of the kind of job that I do, because we didn't go to school from high school to be a music uh, artist manager. We learned on the job, and we enlightened ourselves, and we educated ourselves. So when you're learning on the job, mistakes, errors, situations, you find it almost every time. But the good thing is, every time you go through a situation, you get better, and you don't make that mistake anymore. You don't find yourself in that fix anymore. So yeah, that's life for you. The good and the bad, they come, and you just
I
have
love it.
to take
I
them
love
step.
it. That's a very good philosophy. I love it. And then, what are your favorite songs from Flavor? Your top three, that energizes you, puts you in a good mood. What would be your favorite songs?
Wow, that's tough.
He has a lot of them.
Yeah, it has a lot of songs. It has a lot of, but for me, uh, I'm I would say I have a couple of favorite songs, but I don't think I have a best song. because every song, it depends on my mood.
You're right.
If I'm in a particular mood, I don't even the one that I think is my favorite song, I might not feel like listening to it because I'm not in the mood for that.
So
I'm
let's
in the mood
say
for something else.
what song would of Flavor would put you in a good mood?
We just dropped a song, a video not too long ago. It's titled Most High. I like the song and I like the video, and I like the song mostly because of the situation around the song. We met a boy in Liberia.
Ah,
He was
yes,
blind.
I heard
Yeah,
about this.
you saw.
Okay. Yep. Can you tell us a bit
Yeah,
more?
yeah, we saw a boy. He was blind, and we went for a concert in Liberia. And the blind boy was just a huge Flavor fan. He could sing all of Flavor songs from way back, and we were impressed. And the boy told us that, look, my dream in life is, he was in a school for blind. My dream in life is to do a song with you, Flavor, and have Mastercraft, which I also like, a producer, produce the song. And if I can achieve this, I'll be the happiest person in the world. And that day it felt like, oh, this was just a wishful thinking. But Flavor and myself and the team, we were like, you know what, we can actually achieve this. We can fly this boy to Nigeria after the concert, and we can do this. And we did. We flew the boy to Nigeria. We recorded the song. The next day we shot the video, and the song, the video, everything was, it was a very, very, whenever I listen to the song or I watch the video, it just makes me happy. It makes me fulfilled, knowing that I made a little boy, or we made a little boy's dream come true. So right now I would say that's my best song because it keeps me in the mood. It makes me feel like I can actually put a smile on somebody's face and make somebody achieve their dream with my job. you know
That's amazing. And, we were talking about the power of artists in making great things happen. That's just the perfect example. I'll definitely, check out the music and put it in a link of
hmm
this interview. So any final shout outs you want to make to, friends, people, in general, final words of wisdom you want to give to the audience there before we close the interview?
well, final words would be um final words would be, if if you love, if you set your heart to do something and you love what you're doing, don't look down, don't look at the situation around you, don't think about your limitations, just think about doing what you want to do and being the best at it. And trust me, if you always think about being the best of yourself, the best version of yourself, and you work towards that every day, you are limitless, you are unlimited, you are going to be so great. That is my key for greatness.